Yeah.
Speaking of though, because you were touching on a point that I think I've touched on the show a few times, where you were saying, hey, there's certain Muslim comedians that are only going to cater to a particular audience, and I see certain comics that are only going to cater to this culture, that audience, this and that, and with that, so actually, I was wondering, I think Whoopi Goldberg just got popped for talking about the Holocaust, and she was saying on somebody's show, I think it was her show, that she just got like taken down from, that she didn't think the Holocaust was about race. And then she ended up getting fired for that. I mean, I don't know why you would just come out. Why you would come out on daytime TV.
There's one rule about the Holocaust, and that's to not talk about the
mind
Holocaust,
your
bro. Let's just stop it. It's just stop opinionating on it. Just stop, like, honestly talk. Don't even say it. Just be like, okay, it was a thing. It happened. Moving on.
Wait,
that's how they're making you feel about it.
I'm mad ignorant, but I thought, isn't Judaism a religion? I thought he was trying to kill off Jews. I didn't.
Yeah, but it was a racial. It was racial. Everything at the end of the day for the Nazi regime.
There was I see what you mean.
Racially charged by the blonde hair, blue eyes, and then there was blonde hair, blue eyed Jews. And they were like, yeah, but you're Jewish, so you can get the bucket. You know what I'm saying?
It could be both. Okay.
It was a little bit of both.
What was her statement? Do you remember what she said word for word? Or I honestly didn't read.
Just basically that it wasn't about race, because there was people that looked like them that they did this to again.
I think what she was getting to, my interpretation of it, is that based on just skin tone, she was equating race to like skin tone.
Yeah.
And being that somebody of Jewish heritage will probably have white skin, it's not race. It was more of a culture thing.
Damn. Okay.
Or a religious background, got fired out for that. But there's a lot of sensitivity to it, right?
Yeah.
In my eyes, I think comics in general are like the last guardians against like the First Amendment. You're right to say whatever it is that you're going to say. Now, you'll have to answer for it. You can get in trouble for it or whatever.
She has the right to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? She has the right to be wrong. But what is this suspended for 2 weeks? Like you kicking me out of school for 3 days because I fucking said a thing. Like, this is my job. What are you going to do?
So she gets suspended or whatever she's got going on right now.
Just 2
Joe
weeks.
Rogan.
How do you feel about what happened with Joe Rogan? Because you're a comedian, and then you know.
Leave Joe alone! Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, leave Joe alone. He said, you know what? It's funny. I had this conversation with one of my friends. She's great. I love her to death. But she was really going off on Joe. Okay. And I replied, and I was like, let's talk about this or whatever. And long story short, I was trying to see her points, but she's like, I had an ex-boyfriend who would listen to him all the time, and honestly, I'm sick of his cis heteronormative bullshit. And I'm like, none of those words are real. Like, what, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing you just said. What do you mean? You're talking about a straight white dude talking like a straight white dude? Then, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, and he's a comic, so I mean, I don't even think of him as white, to be honest. He's just a dude that just does dude shit.
Yeah, for me, I saw the video, the first one where he was saying the N-word, and I'm like, you fucked up. You're not supposed to. You shouldn't. I don't like. It just made me feel uncomfortable when people that are saying, and he was comfortably saying it. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, all right, but then he knew that was a mistake. But then when he did the Black Apes, what did he say? Like, I went to a neighborhood and it felt like Planet of the Apes. I was like, dude, that's like racist. Like, that's, I don't know.
It is.
And then he himself, if you watch the full video, he's like, that was racist, and then kept going. I'm like,
afterward. Well, so what I try my best to do is not get knocked off my pivot by the internet trying to tell me how I should feel or what I should think, especially if it's a bunch of chopped up clips out of context, right? I will get, we're comics.
Yeah.
So you could take anything I say, you take any night that I perform,
you cut it,
and then cut it up. It's a wrap for me.
Of course.
I'm losing it all.
That's what I said. I'm like, if you take everything, I'm like, he's been talking for 12 years.
That's true.
If you go through all of it, you're going to find things you're not going to like, and you could easily splice it. They did the same thing with the Young Turks. I don't know if you've seen the Young Turks, but it's like this progressive news YouTube channel, whatever. And there was like a minute clip of their people saying the N-word, blah, 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 but they're progressives and no one was saying shit. And you're like, yeah, because this is a person with a lot of eyeballs on them, and it's easy to start yelling because of fucking whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. I think he's fine. I think he's gonna be okay.
Watch Joe Rogan when he's so quote unquote culturally canceled at the moment, but if
I think if anything, it helped him.
Would you still watch it?
I mean, I still listen to his shit. Who cares? Like, listen, man. I'm not in my feelings about words. And this is a word that I need to be in my feelings about. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, with the context, it matters. But at the end of the day, when he does a 4-hour fucking thing, there's a lot of information there. And if he jokes around and takes things like 1-2 times out of context, for me, I'm like, man, it's not gonna move my fucking.
We could play the sticks and stones game all day, but every culture has a word you use amongst yourselves that if somebody else uses it in context, out of context, and people are going to be rubbed the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And you're allowed to do it inside of your bubble, your community, and whatnot. Right. I mean, you could think how many do they have for the Hispanic community? How many do they have for the Arab community, the Muslim community? And it's all fun and good in your thing. If you say it out loud, so if we're being completely honest, when it comes to any hip hop artist, any rap artist, any given one of their songs is gonna have the N word in it 783 times, right? And if you're a superstar hip hop artist, guess who's supporting you? It ain't black folk. It ain't 13% of the American population.
It's like white middle school kids.
It's 16-year-old white kids that is, while they're in their room playing Call of Duty, they are screaming and shouting at the top of their lungs, living in that vibe and being who they is. So if one of them happens to come out, I'm not saying that's who Joe Rogan is, but to be under the impression, you know what I mean, that it's not being said.
Yeah, that's fact.
But Splice would be like, he said it, shouldn't he have said it? Who knows? The context was taken out. But I don't think he was doing it to be like, F that N-word over there, took my parking spot or whatever. He was just, you know what I'm saying? It's not, they're saying a racist thing and then being an actual racist.
Is anybody not racist?
That's what I'm
24
saying.
hours a day,
like,
7 days a week?
The things that go through my head when I see someone cut me off in the highway and I pull up and I see who exactly they are, the shit that goes in my head, I'm like, oh, I knew it.
Not even racist or racial. I am an ism or an ist to a level depending on what's happening. You know what I mean?
So how do you right now, if Joe Rogan like asked you to be on the show, you'd be like, nah, because you said that. Like,
I wouldn't. As a matter of fact, one, Joe Rogan, you're welcome at any given time, any moment that you want to be on. But on top of that, if he was, let's say he was a blatant racist, which is a diamond in the rough. It's a rose out of the concrete. You're not going to find that. We were just talking about that. When I had Olivia on the previous episode, and she said, I grew up in a town full of racists. If I asked everybody she was thinking about which one of you were racist, nobody would raise their hands.
Yeah.
So if I was able to get somebody who was outwardly racist and felt a way against a culture, I would definitely love to tap into that person's psyche, find out, ask the questions like, where does this come from?
I think that's a beautiful approach. It's like that's why I don't like cancel culture to a certain degree because of the fact, like, if someone messed up, whether it be Joe Rogan or whoever, whatever happens, I feel like we should give that person like the human. You're still human. We messed up. Let's talk about this.
Yes.
Like, I hate when they just cancel, you're done, no one wants to hear from me. It's like, yo, let's grow from this. Joe, because Joe has so much power, he could really make some big changes and then like change the mindset of his father. Like, he could really make a good impact, you know what I mean, if we help him grow or whatever, tell him where the mistakes are. And I know for a fact he's never
You can't say it ever again. Is that good? Yeah. Done.
With the,
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically what does he need to learn? He's not an ignorant, unknown person.
No, but I'm saying use that moment to teach others, not just him. Instead of like canceling him and getting rid of him. Like, I remember I was reading something like one of the NBA owners said the N-word on a phone call or something. Like, this is...
They took his team, bro. They took his
and I'm like, bro, that could have been a moment to like really tap into that. Because now what happens
But he said it in a very racist context.
He did.
That was like, oh, he thinks he's better than them and he's using it derogatory.
And he's 1,000% wrong and he could go to hell. But the thing is, like, what happens is now all the other racists go into hiding.
Yeah.
Now it becomes more discreet and more subtle. Like, racism exists. We were talking about it's just more subtle nowadays. It's no longer blatant in your face. Yo, Mike, da 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 da. It's more like, yo, Mike, you can't get the job. Yo, Mike, you can't come into this neighborhood. Right. They just changed the way that they are racist. You know what I mean? Like, it's more subtle. Like, and I think we just gotta start addressing it. And I was talking to a Palestinian yesterday at my job because I did a Palestine joke and I was making fun of Palestine. It's like, yo, it's a touchy subject, And I'm like,
I was making fun of Palestine to a Palestinian.
know, and I love Palestine. Like, I was at the protest, everything. I'm pro-Palestine. I want them to be free. But, like, if we don't take time to, you know, joke about certain things, if we don't laugh at it, they're going to laugh at us. You know what I mean? If me and a Palestinian can't laugh at the situation, he made fun of Iraq, I make fun of Palestine. If we can't do that, then everyone else is going to point and laugh at us, and we're just going to be mad. Like, we gotta address it. You know what I mean? And have that, you know, that aspect to be like, let's talk about it. And that's why I love comedy, because I go on stage, I want to talk about anything and everything and do it in a,
I think one of the shows I was hosting at the Red Room, I think you and the Bros was out, and then like an Israeli comic got up there and was doing this thing. It's like chairs weren't moving, like tomato cans weren't flying around.
Especially, the intention is what matters. You know what I mean? I think like if I see whoever going up on stage and doing whatever joke, it's like, are they going on that stage to really try to make us laugh and we all have a good time and connect, or are they up there with an agenda? Yeah. Are they like if the let's say that Israeli in that situation was like, I'm gonna go, there's 4 Palestinians, I can't wait to call them this and piss them off and make fun of them, then that's wrong. Right. But if he's going up there, it's like, yo, man, I'm Israeli, we're also this and this, you know, like, and he has a different intention, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Even if he maybe messes up here and there, I'm like, he's at least trying to address it.
Real Rap Podcast.